All right, so I bought a printer. I was thinking about it for a while, and then I feel like I was finally ready to do it. And so this is it. It is the Photon D2 by Anycubic. Now this isn't the actual printer I'm using. This is the second one that I got. And I'll tell you for a reason why I decided to pick up another one. So when I was researching my, when I decided okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna finally get into it. Made a space in my garage, figure out the ventilation situation. I started doing my research for what printer I wanted to get. And throughout my research, you know, every printer has its pros and cons. I understand that. But started looking into it. And then as I was looking, I was also looking for price. Okay, what do I need? I don't need a big build plate. This build plate is pretty small. It's maybe about that big. I'm only doing miniatures. I'm painting miniatures. Build plate size, for the most part, isn't going to really matter. What else didn't matter to me was print speed. I don't care about print speed. Not for me, because, and probably not for most of us. So they do a lot of marketing, like they show, oh, these printers that print, you know, prints in like 8 hours. Well, now with our printer and this technology, it's 6.5 hours. That hour and a half doesn't really matter to me when I'm setting a print up and then I go to work, or I'm starting a print and then I'm going to bed. From my experience printing, because I have one set up in my garage right now, this is a spare one, I wake up and my print is done, whether it just finished or it's been sitting there for a couple of hours while I slept. Either way, I was sleeping when it finished. All right, so that time doesn't affect me. So I don't need, so any marketing about print speeds, I didn't care, but I do care about quality. And when I was doing my research, I came across the Photon D2. And what's interesting about the Photon D2 is it's a DLP printer, meaning it doesn't use an LCD screen. It uses a projector. I don't know if you guys know anything about projectors, but the mono LCDs that these 3D printers use, they're good for a couple thousand hours. This thing is good for tens of thousands of hours. Like I think like 20-something thousand hours. And then LCD printers, they're good for, I think like 4, 2, 3, sometimes like 4, maybe 5,000 hours, something like that. Put a little perspective, there's about 8,700 and something hours in a year. So if you're gonna be printing around the clock, you're gonna get about, I don't know, maybe like 6 months. If the LCD is the thing to fail first, and the LCDs are the consumable in these products. And so the only reason that's a problem to me was, well, during my research, I don't know if you guys heard of Warhammer videos, F-A-U-X, Warhammer. A lot of the printer reviews, or in anything he mentions usually, he mentions when swapping out LCDs, most of the printers that I was looking at, he mentioned it's kind of a pain to switch them out. So I didn't want to do that. This thing, I'm probably never like 20, okay, so what's 8,000 divided by, let's say 20,000, maybe more, right? It's good for a minimum up like of 20,000. That's what, 3, 4, probably like 3 years, 3-ish years. I'm good with one printer. It shouldn't have any issues other than other consumables like the FEP screens, the VATs, and resin. I got some prints from eBay with somebody who was using a Saturn 4K Ultra, one that I was considering, and they look great. But I can notice some things. Like, I don't, like the points sometimes aren't pointy. They're rounded a little bit. And I have some miniatures that I printed, some of them from War Machine. I also did some Trench Crusade miniatures as well. You on a microscopic level, and honestly, it is so not a big deal. It doesn't matter to me, especially because I'm going to be painting these anyways. You'll sometimes see, depending on the orientation of the miniature, the layer heights. But I'm telling you, you see it under a microscope. You don't. I can't see it. I can't point. I don't know what orientation I printed this in. I can't see it. I have to bring it up to my eyes. My eyes will focus that close. All right. And this thing looks amazing. I'll bring it a little closer to this camera. Right. I don't even know if this camera this close can even pick it up. You got to get it under a microscope to see the things that you might, you would be, I guess, marketed that you don't want. That's why they say, oh, anti-aliasing and all these other things to get rid of these things. With this printer, I don't use any of that. It uses anti-aliasing if you want to get rid of this stuff. I don't use it. I don't think it is needed. Let me see if I can find one that actually does have the layer lines and or I think they call them voxel lines. This one, it's going to be really hard to see, but in the middle of its chest in this area, if the light hits it just right, you can see it a little bit. And it is, like from here, I can't see it. This looks like a perfect print. An absolute perfect print. I have to bring it to a point where I can see it and now my eyes are out of focus. So as I get older and my eyes are not as good, that situation doesn't matter to me. And then you start throwing paint all over this thing. You put a coat of primer. This has 2 coats of prime. I primed it in black, and then instead of doing the zenithal highlighting with like a airbrush and ink that sometimes people do, I just took my white primer and went over it, and it covers up a lot of that voxelation. All right, so now this printer is about 3 years old, and I decided to get another printer because when I did a few prints, I realized I personally have no need for anything better than this. All right, so I went on to Anycubic, and I also want to show you guys this. I also did this, a whole statue of Hellboy. Hellboy is my favorite superhero. And I was able to do this whole thing on this printer. Not all at once, because like I said, this build plate's very small, but the whole thing, it did the whole thing. I think like 2 or 3 print sessions got me this whole thing. So, and I mean, you tell me, does that look like a fucking bad print? Can you see the layer? You can't see the layer lines. I primed it all in a white primer, but you can't see any of those layers. So anyways, I'll put it right here so you guys can keep looking at it because I love it. I'm gonna print it, or not print, I'm gonna paint it pretty soon, and it's gonna live on the shelf. Maybe I'll put like a special shelf, a Hellboy shelf. It really is like my favorite superhero. Anyways, so I went on Anycubic's website, and then I noticed that the D2 was just gone. And I even went on Elegoo's because like I got really excited about DLP and looking it up and looking into all of its specs and making me realize that all these things that 3D printer manufacturers try to sell you on, a lot of those numbers and a lot of those features don't matter. Like microns matter a lot with LCD printers. Doesn't matter for a DLP, but like micron, it doesn't matter. This thing says 50 microns, and now they're down to like 12 or like 15 microns. So, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Not when you're talking about DLP. It's in a class of its own. DLP can only compete against other DLP. So that's when I went over to Elegoo, and I wanted to look into their Mars 4 DLP printer because I know it was a little cheaper. And so like $250 or something like that. So I was, I'm gonna check it out. And it was out of stock. So I emailed them. Hey, like, when are you gonna get this printer back? They're like, we're not going to. And that's all they said. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. It seemed like within a day of me ordering it, it was gone. Not just like out of stock, any, I guess, evidence it existed was gone. And then my conspiracy theory mind started going. So I panicked and I was like, well, I really like this printer. And if mine, because it's an appliance, appliances don't last forever. Okay, I need to go get another one. I looked on Amazon and it was being sold at the same price, which, by the way, when this thing came out 3 years ago, I think it was like over $700. I got it for like $300 each of them. So I got two for less than the price of its original release, which is awesome, right? And it came with Amazon, which I bought both of them from Amazon. They both came, the one on Amazon came with some resin, right? So I panicked, ran over to Amazon, ordered it, came the next day, cool. Now, if that one ever takes a shit, it becomes parts. And then this one gets put into production. And then the other one gets boxed up and gets used for spare parts if I ever need it. So, I don't know if this is true, but this is I guess my theory. Why it seems like they're getting rid of DLP with no plans of a Photon D3, right? Did they take it off because they're coming out with a new one pretty soon? I haven't seen anything. I think the reason is, like I said, with a projector, it's going to last you a couple of years. So the consumables for this thing is just resin. Once you go over to Anycubic, buy this printer, you don't really have you're not really a consistent returning customer, right? Versus if you go to Anycubic or Elegoo or Frozen, whatever, name one of them, and you buy one of their LCD printers, you know that if this person is using your product, they're going to be back within a year to buy another LCD, and again and again, and then you can and then I know Frozen tends to keep up with their lines and they support them for a long time. Anycubic, I think, is notorious for not doing that. But so then you can't get the parts anymore. You have to buy their next thing and their next thing. So even if your printer is good, everything except for the LCD, but you can't get that particular LCD anymore, now they got you, selling you another printer, right? This thing, I think it just lasts too long, right? I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 90s when, and my fridge as a kid, I don't remember it ever breaking, right? It never broke. And I think, and as far as business, that's bad business. Nowadays, it seems like I replace a washer every couple of years, or at least have to get a technician to come. Then he has to order parts, and it costs me money. I have to spend money on my washer or dryer. It seems like every 18 months, like just dumping money in it. And that's smart business, right? It's kind of shitty, but I get it. It seems like in the world of 3D printing, DLP, consumer grade DLP is probably not good business. But yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. So I haven't checked Amazon recently, but if you're in the market to get a 3D printer, I would recommend this. I mean, look at it. I would recommend this thing based off of this quality, right? And if the feature, it doesn't have Wi-Fi. If you don't need Wi-Fi, I don't need Wi-Fi. Just plug in the USB, stop being lazy. No Wi-Fi, no tilting vat. It's quiet as hell. I think it only pulls like 15 watts of power, while other ones are pulling north of like 60 watts. So it's a lot more eco-friendly, while you're printing toxic waste. But yeah, I don't know. If you're interested in getting this printer, look on Amazon, see if they have any left, because I would highly recommend it. They do have an Anycubic. I'm not worried about them running out of the vats and all that stuff because it's the same size as their Mono series, so you can still get those. But I've been having a lot of fun with it, man. I even printed out this little holder here, and then I just tack on some of my miniatures onto this, and then I'm gonna also print another handle, so this slides into the handle. Now I have a handle, and I'm able to paint. It's pretty cool. Yeah, this is what I've been working on lately. The Sorcerer from Trench Crusade. I love Trench Crusade, by the way. I don't know if you guys could tell with all my Trench Crusade painting videos. But anyways, yeah. Let me know if you guys are thinking about picking up this printer. I suggest it. If you do, let me know. Also, do the whole like, comment, subscribe, all that. It helps and validates me doing this. I'm human. I need validation. Making sure that I'll keep doing this if you guys keep wanting to see it. So anyways, thanks.